Welcome to the Wisdom of the Buddha channel. Imagine waking up every morning with a deep sense of peace. Feeling unburdened by the past and unafraid of the future. Imagine experiencing happiness not as a fleeting emotion tied to external circumstances, but as a steady flame that burns within you, no matter what happens in life. This is not a dream. This is the reality that Buddhist wisdom offers. For over 2,500 years, the teachings of the Buddha have provided timeless insights into the nature of the mind, the heart, and the soul. These teachings are not just ancient philosophy, they are practical tools that help us navigate the challenges of modern life with clarity, strength, and inner peace. The world teaches us that happiness comes from wealth, success, relationships, and achievements, but Buddhism reveals a deeper truth. Real happiness is not something we chase outside of ourselves. It is something we cultivate within. What if the greatest peace you will ever know is not something you have to seek, but something you have always had? What if the path to joy and fulfillment has been hidden in plain sight, waiting for you to awaken to it? Today, we will explore 7 profound Buddhist principles that can revolutionize the way you live, think, and feel. These are not abstract ideas. They are practical steps you can apply immediately to reshape your life from the inside out. Whether you are struggling with stress, uncertainty, emotional turmoil, or a search for deeper meaning, these teachings will offer you clarity, strength, and a profound sense of purpose. So, are you ready to step onto the path of wisdom, balance, and true inner peace? Let's get started with Wisdom of the Buddha channel. Section 1. Live in the present. Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. The Buddha. Many of us live anywhere but the present. Our minds are time travelers, trapped in a cycle of regret over the past and anxiety about the future. We replay old conversations, wonder what we should have done differently, or obsess over what tomorrow may bring. But happiness does not exist in the past, it has already happened. It does not exist in the future, it is yet to come. The only reality that truly exists is here and now. A story of a monk and a tree. A young monk was burdened by thoughts of past mistakes and future uncertainties. His teacher pointed at a massive ancient tree outside the temple and said, "Look at this tree. It does not grieve over the storm that broke its branches last year. Nor does it tremble in fear of the coming winter. It stands, fully present in the moment." The monk realized that peace is found only in presence. Worrying about what has already happened or what has yet to come is like chasing the wind, futile and exhausting. Modern example. Steve Jobs' obsession with the present. Steve Jobs, the visionary behind Apple, was known for his intense focus on the present moment. He often spoke about the limited time we have in life, and how worrying about external opinions or past failures is a waste of precious energy. Jobs once said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking." He embraced mindfulness and often credited his success to focusing completely on the task at hand. Whether it was designing the first Mac or launching the iPhone, he was fully immersed in the present. His ability to block out distractions and be fully engaged was a key factor in Apple's success. How we lose the present in everyday life. Think about how often we let the present slip away. We drink coffee but don't taste it. We listen to a friend talk, but our mind is elsewhere. We rush through our day, never really experiencing it. Technology makes it even worse. We scroll endlessly on our phones, lost in digital noise. We capture moments for social media rather than experiencing them. Practical exercise, the 60-second reset. Try this. Stop for 60 seconds. Take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your lungs. Listen to the sounds around you. Let your thoughts slow down. For 1 minute, just be. The more we practice presence, the more we experience peace, clarity, and joy. Section 2. Practice compassion. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Dalai Lama. Compassion is often mistaken for a form of weakness, something that leaves us vulnerable. But in reality, it is one of the most profound sources of strength. Compassion does not mean allowing others to walk over us. Nor does it mean turning a blind eye to injustice. Instead, it is choosing to respond with wisdom rather than anger. With understanding rather than vengeance. And the most surprising part? Compassion is not just for others, it is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. The power of compassion in leadership. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela had every reason to be bitter. He was imprisoned for 27 years, subjected to inhumane treatment, and robbed of his youth by an unjust system. When he finally emerged from prison, he could have sought revenge and no one would have blamed him. But instead of using his newfound power to punish his oppressors, he chose reconciliation over revenge. Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies, Mandela once said. His decision to forgive and build unity rather than wage war transformed South Africa from a country divided by apartheid into a more inclusive democracy. This single act of compassion changed history. What Mandela understood is that compassion is not about forgetting, it is about choosing not to let hatred define you. He did not ignore the injustices of the past. Instead, he led with a heart big enough to seek peace where others sought war. Mandela's leadership is proof that compassion is not a weakness. It is one of the most powerful forces in the world. The strategic use of compassion. Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, was another leader who understood the power of compassion. During the American Civil War, his goal was not just to win the war but to heal the nation. Many of his advisors urged him to punish the Confederacy after the Union's victory. But Lincoln took a different approach. He famously said, "Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends?" Instead of treating the South as a defeated enemy, he chose reconciliation over retribution. His plan to welcome the Southern states back into the Union with dignity helped prevent further division. Lincoln's compassion was strategic, not naive. He knew that humiliating an enemy only creates resentment, but treating them with respect creates lasting peace. How compassion rewires your brain. Modern neuroscience has finally caught up with what spiritual traditions have taught for centuries. Helping others makes us happier. Acts of compassion trigger the release of oxytocin, often called the love hormone. This chemical reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, and increases feelings of connection. Even small acts of kindness like holding the door for someone, offering a smile, or simply listening can boost our own sense of well-being. Psychologists have found that people who practice regular acts of kindness experience lower levels of anxiety and depression, increased lifespan, stronger immune function. This is why compassion is not just good for the soul, it is good for the brain. The power of empathy. Princess Diana's touch. Princess Diana was one of the most beloved figures of the 20th century. Not because of her royal status, but because of her compassionate heart. In 1987, at the height of the AIDS crisis, fear and misinformation about the disease were rampant. People refused to touch AIDS patients, believing they could get infected through casual contact. Diana did something revolutionary. She visited a hospital, sat with AIDS patients, and shook their hands without wearing gloves. That simple act challenged the stigma surrounding the disease and changed public perception forever. Her message was clear: they need love just as much as anyone else. Compassion is not just about feeling for others, it is about taking action. The Business of Compassion. Howard Schultz and Starbucks. Howard Schultz, the former CEO of Starbucks, built a global empire not just on coffee, but on compassionate leadership. Unlike many corporate leaders who prioritize profit above all else, Schultz made a bold decision. He gave full health benefits to both full-time and part-time employees. He created college tuition programs for Starbucks workers. He fought for fair wages and better working conditions. His philosophy was simple: take care of your people, and they will take care of your business. Many companies view employees as disposable. But Schultz proved that compassion in business leads to greater success. And the results? Starbucks became one of the most successful and respected brands in the world. Practical exercise: the 5-second rule for kindness. Whenever you feel annoyed or impatient with someone, pause for 5 seconds and ask yourself, how would I feel if I were in their shoes? For example, a slow cashier? Maybe they're exhausted from a double shift. A driver who cuts you off? Maybe they're rushing to the hospital. A coworker who seems rude? Maybe they're dealing with a personal struggle. This small habit can change how you interact with the world. It trains your mind to respond with understanding instead of irritation. Compassion in everyday life: Oprah Winfrey's mission. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential women in media, built her empire on the foundation of compassion. She did not just interview guests, she listened deeply, often helping them heal from trauma. Beyond television, she has donated hundreds of millions of dollars to education, opened a school for underprivileged girls in South Africa, and used her platform to elevate voices that would otherwise be ignored. Her philosophy? To move forward, you must give back. Oprah's story is proof that compassion is not just an emotional response, it is a way of life. Final thought: why compassion is the strongest force on earth. Every major spiritual tradition, from Buddhism to Christianity, Islam to Hinduism, places compassion at the center of human virtue. But compassion is not just a religious or philosophical concept, it is a practical tool that heals relationships, strengthens leadership, improves mental health, creates lasting success. The world does not need more power-hungry leaders or ruthless corporations. It needs more Mandelas, more Lincolns, more Princess Dianas, more people willing to lead with kindness. The good news? Compassion is a choice, and it is a choice we can make every single day. Section 3. Embrace simplicity. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor. Seneca. Society constantly tells us that more is better: more money, more possessions, more recognition. We are conditioned to believe that happiness is something we must acquire, as if it were a prize waiting at the end of a long race. But the truth, as Buddha, Seneca, and countless great minds have taught, is the opposite. Happiness comes not from gaining more but from needing less. Simplicity is not about deprivation, it is about clarity, focus, and freedom. A Tale of Two Billionaires, Warren Buffett vs. a man who lost it all. Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest individuals in history, could afford any mansion, luxury car, or extravagant lifestyle he desires. Yet, despite his billions, he still lives in the same modest house he bought in 1958, drives a regular car, and eats simple meals. When asked why he chooses this lifestyle, Buffett's response is simple: I'm not interested in impressing people. I don't need a yacht to be happy. On the other hand, history is filled with stories of people who won the lottery or suddenly became wealthy only to lose it all. Take Mike Tyson, for example. At the peak of his boxing career, he had a fortune of $400 million. Yet he managed to lose it all. Why? He was caught in the illusion that happiness was tied to material excess, buying mansions, exotic animals, and throwing lavish parties. His downfall was not a lack of money, it was a lack of simplicity. Buffett understands what so many fail to grasp: wealth is a tool, not a purpose. The key to happiness is not in accumulation, but in appreciation. The hidden cost of complexity, the burden of too much. The modern world thrives on excess. We fill our homes with things we don't need. We commit to more tasks than we can handle. We chase status symbols instead of fulfillment. And in doing so, we create a prison of our own making. The result? Stress, anxiety, and a constant feeling of never having enough. Studies show that clutter is directly linked to stress. The more we accumulate, the more we feel burdened. Simplicity is not just about living with less, it is about removing mental and emotional noise that distracts us from what truly matters. The wisdom of Leonardo da Vinci, simplicity as the ultimate sophistication. Leonardo da Vinci, one of the greatest minds in history, believed that simplicity was the key to genius. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, he once said. Despite his vast knowledge in engineering, anatomy, and art, he was known for eliminating excess and focusing only on what was essential. His paintings, such as The Last Supper and Mona Lisa, are masterpieces because they do not contain unnecessary distractions. Every detail serves a purpose. Da Vinci's philosophy teaches us a crucial lesson: complexity is easy, simplicity takes mastery. How simplicity created Apple's success. Steve Jobs' minimalist mindset. Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, was obsessed with simplicity in design and life. He wore the same black turtleneck, jeans, and sneakers every day, not because he couldn't afford luxury, but because he didn't want to waste mental energy on trivial decisions. His approach to technology was the same. While competitors were adding more buttons and features, Jobs believed that the best products were those that eliminated unnecessary complexity. This belief led to the creation of the iPhone, iPad, and MacBook devices that revolutionized technology through simplicity. His success was not in doing more, but in doing less better. The Buddhist perspective: the more you own, the more you are owned. Buddhism teaches that the more we attach ourselves to material things, the more we become enslaved by them. Think about it. A big house, more cleaning, more maintenance, more worry. A luxury car, more insurance, more repairs, more stress. Expensive gadgets, more updates, more distractions, more attachment. The Buddha himself was born into royalty and wealth. Yet he chose a simple life because he saw that attachment only leads to suffering. True happiness is not found in possessions, but in peace of mind. The trap of social media: fake wealth, real misery. Social media bombards us with images of luxury lifestyles, people posing in expensive cars, private jets, and designer clothing. But behind the filters and staged photos, many of these influencers are drowning in debt, anxiety, and emptiness. Jim Carrey, one of the most successful actors in Hollywood, once said, "I wish everyone could get rich and famous so they could see that it's not the answer." This is the illusion of modern society, chasing external validation instead of internal fulfillment. The antidote? Simplicity. Practical exercise: the 1-week minimalist challenge. For 1 week, try this experiment. Each day, let go of one thing that adds unnecessary weight to your life. It could be a physical object you no longer use, a digital distraction: unsubscribe from emails, delete unused apps. A toxic commitment: say no to something draining. Notice how much lighter and freer you feel by the end of the week. Minimalism is not about deprivation, it is about making space for what truly matters. Simplicity and mental clarity: Albert Einstein's thought process. Albert Einstein, one of the greatest minds of all time, understood the power of simplicity in thinking. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. He famously said, despite dealing with complex theories of relativity and physics, Einstein always sought to break things down into the simplest terms possible. His ability to strip away the unnecessary and focus on the core truth is what made his discoveries so revolutionary. This applies to life as well. The simpler our mindset, the clearer our thinking. The success of IKEA, the beauty of simple living. IKEA, one of the world's most successful furniture companies, was founded on one simple philosophy: affordable, functional, and minimal design for everyone. Unlike luxury brands that overcomplicate furniture with extravagant designs and high prices, IKEA thrived by removing excess and focusing on what people actually need. Simplicity in business, life, and design is what leads to long-term success. Final thought: the freedom of less. There is a reason why monks, great leaders, and visionaries across history have embraced simplicity. The less you need, the freer you become. Simplicity is not about having nothing, it is about having enough. It is about less clutter, more space. Less distraction, more focus. Less stress, more peace. At the end of the day, the question is not how much we have, but how much we truly need to be happy. Section 4, Detach from desire. Desire is a double-edged sword. It fuels ambition, innovation, and personal growth. Yet it also breeds suffering, discontent, and frustration when left unchecked. The Buddhist teachings emphasize that clinging to desires, whether for wealth, status, relationships, or power, creates an endless cycle of dissatisfaction. The moment we attach our happiness to something external, we hand over our peace of mind to forces beyond our control. The key is not to abandon all goals and dreams, but to pursue them without attachment, understanding that everything is temporary. A story of the man who chased sand. A man obsessed with wealth and success approached a wise elder and asked, "How do I find lasting happiness?" The elder handed him a handful of sand and said, "Hold it tightly." The man clenched his fist, but the harder he gripped, the more sand slipped through his fingers. "The more you cling, the more you lose," the elder explained. This lesson applies to everything in life: money, relationships, recognition, even youth. When we fear losing something, we hold on too tightly, suffocating it. But when we loosen our grip, we find freedom and peace. The rise and fall of Michael Jackson, a tragic lesson in attachment. Michael Jackson was one of the most successful musicians of all time. Yet he was also one of the most tortured souls in the world. At the peak of his career, he had everything: fame, fortune, adoration. But it was never enough. His desire for perfection, eternal youth, and public approval became an obsession. Instead of enjoying his incredible legacy, he constantly chased more, altering his appearance, seeking validation, and fearing irrelevance. His story is a powerful reminder that when we attach our happiness to things that are impermanent, we set ourselves up for suffering. The emperor who walked away, Marcus Aurelius' philosophy of detachment. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Roman emperors and Stoic philosophers, ruled over the most powerful empire of his time. Yet, despite having absolute power, he lived a life of detachment. In his personal writings, meditations, he reminded himself daily, "Soon you will have forgotten all things, and all things will have forgotten you." He understood that fame, power, and fortune were fleeting. Instead of clinging to his status, he focused on virtue, wisdom, and inner peace. His ability to rule without attachment made him one of the most respected and wise leaders in history. Why letting go brings peace. Most people believe that happiness comes from getting what we want. But Buddhist wisdom teaches the opposite. True happiness comes from wanting less. When we chase success rightward arrow, we fear failure. Love rightward arrow, we fear abandonment. Wealth rightward arrow, we fear losing it. The moment we detach from these fears, we experience true peace. Happiness is not about having more, it's about needing less. Jeff Bezos and the illusion of more. Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, is one of the richest men in the world. His company revolutionized online shopping. making him a billionaire hundreds of times over. Yet, even after achieving unimaginable wealth, he still seeks more, building space rockets, expanding his empire, acquiring luxury assets. Why? Because desire has no finish line. No matter how much we achieve, if we believe happiness is in the next goal, the next purchase, the next milestone, we will always feel empty. The secret? Appreciate what you have now. The psychological trap of desire. Neuroscience confirms what Buddhism has taught for centuries. The brain is wired to want more. Dopamine, the reward chemical, spikes when we anticipate something exciting, a promotion, a new relationship, a big purchase. But the moment we get it, the dopamine fades, and we start chasing the next high. This is why the thrill of a new car wears off after a few months. A dream job eventually becomes just a job. Winning the lottery doesn't guarantee lasting happiness. Our brain tricks us into thinking the next thing will bring fulfillment, but it never does. The only way to break this cycle is to detach from the illusion that happiness lies outside of us. Oprah Winfrey, From Materialism to Meaning. Early in her career, Oprah Winfrey believed that success meant wealth and luxury. She bought extravagant mansions, designer clothes, and rare artifacts. But over time, she realized, I've had everything money can buy. But the greatest joy comes from giving and living with purpose. She shifted her focus from accumulating to contributing, using her platform to uplift others. Oprah's transformation is proof that the deepest fulfillment comes from what we give, not what we get. The celebrity crisis, when fame becomes a prison. Many celebrities fall into the trap of attachment, believing that their identity depends on their fame. Marilyn Monroe had beauty, money, and fame, yet struggled with deep insecurity and depression. Elvis Presley, despite being adored by millions, died alone, addicted to painkillers. Heath Ledger, at the height of his career, felt trapped by expectations and lost himself. Their stories reveal a painful truth. If we attach our worth to external things, we risk losing ourselves. The solution? Detach. Find meaning beyond wealth and recognition. How Buddhism and Stoicism align on letting go. Both Buddhism and Stoicism emphasize detachment as the path to freedom. Buddhism. Everything is impermanent. Attachments create suffering. Letting go leads to inner peace. Stoicism. External things are outside our control. Clinging to them causes distress. Focus only on what you can control: your mind, actions, and character. Both philosophies teach that true freedom comes from within. Practical exercise, the Am I Clinging test. Whenever you feel frustrated, anxious, or stressed, pause and ask, am I clinging to something impermanent? If the answer is yes, take a deep breath. Remind yourself, nothing lasts forever. Release the attachment mentally, emotionally, and physically. This simple practice can change how you experience life. Final thought, let go to be free. Detachment is not about rejecting life, it is about embracing it fully, without fear. When we stop clinging to things outside our control, we unlock unshakable peace, clarity, and joy. The path to true freedom is simple: let go. Breathe. Live. Section 5, Cultivate Gratitude. Let us rise up and be thankful. The Buddha. Gratitude is one of the most powerful, yet overlooked, tools for happiness. It is not just a polite gesture or a simple thank you, it is a mindset shift that rewires how we see the world. When we practice gratitude, we redirect our focus from what is missing to what we already have. This single habit can transform stress into peace, frustration into contentment, and scarcity into abundance. The science of gratitude, why it works. Modern psychology confirms what spiritual leaders have taught for centuries: gratitude changes the brain. Neuroscientists have found that regular gratitude practice increases dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals responsible for happiness. Studies show that people who keep a gratitude journal experience lower stress and anxiety, improved sleep quality, stronger immune systems, increased overall happiness. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a habit, a daily discipline that shifts how we interpret life. Oprah Winfrey, the gratitude journal that changed her life. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most successful women in media, credits gratitude as the key to her success and happiness. At the height of her career, when she was juggling fame, business, and personal struggles, she felt overwhelmed. She started writing 5 things she was grateful for every day, a habit that transformed her perspective. "I kept a gratitude journal for a decade," she said. "And every night, before I went to bed, I wrote down 5 things that made me feel grateful. It changed everything." She has since encouraged millions of people to adopt the same practice, proving that gratitude is a universal tool for fulfillment, whether you are struggling or already successful. The hidden power of gratitude, Keanu Reeves' story. Keanu Reeves is one of Hollywood's most beloved actors, not just for his talent, but for his humility and gratitude despite enduring unimaginable hardships. His father abandoned him at a young age. His best friend, River Phoenix, died tragically. His partner, Jennifer Syme, lost their child and later died in a car accident. Yet, despite his painful past, Reeves remains one of the kindest, most grounded celebrities in the world. He is often seen riding the subway, helping strangers, and expressing deep appreciation for life. When asked about his outlook, he said, "Every day is precious. Every person you meet can teach you something. Be grateful for it all." Gratitude does not erase pain, it transforms how we carry it. The perspective shift, a Holocaust survivor's gratitude. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, endured unthinkable suffering in Nazi concentration camps. He lost his family, his home, and nearly his life. Yet, instead of being consumed by bitterness, he discovered that gratitude was the one thing that could not be taken from him. In his book Man's Search for Meaning, he wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Even in the darkest conditions, he found moments to be grateful for: sunlight breaking through a crack in the wall, a kind word from a fellow prisoner, a memory of his wife's smile." If gratitude can exist in a concentration camp, it can exist anywhere. Why people struggle with gratitude. Many people think, "I'll be grateful when I have more money, when I find love, when I achieve my dreams." But gratitude is not a result of success, it is a prerequisite for it. People with nothing can feel abundant, while people with everything can feel empty. It is not about what we have, but how we perceive it. Someone in a small apartment feels grateful for a warm home. Someone in a mansion feels miserable because they want a bigger one. Someone with an old car feels lucky to have transportation. Someone with a luxury car feels unhappy because they want a newer model. Happiness is not about having more, it is about appreciating what you already have. How gratitude transforms business. Richard Branson's leadership. Richard Branson, the billionaire founder of Virgin Group, built his empire on gratitude and appreciation. Unlike many CEOs who prioritize profits over people, Branson consistently expresses gratitude to his employees. He believes that a grateful leader creates a thriving business. His company culture is based on recognizing contributions, celebrating small wins, and treating employees with respect. As a result, Virgin Group has one of the happiest and most productive workforces in the world. Branson proves that gratitude is not just a personal tool, it is a business strategy. The dangers of a gratitude deficit, the unhappiness epidemic. We live in a world with more wealth, technology, and convenience than ever before, yet anxiety, and depression are at all-time highs. Why? Because gratitude is missing. People focus on what they don't have instead of what they do. Social media makes it worse by creating endless comparison. Someone else's vacation makes us feel like our lives are boring. Someone else's promotion makes us feel like we are failing. Someone else's relationship makes us feel lonely. But comparison is a trap. Gratitude is the way out. How to instantly shift your mood with gratitude. Whenever you feel frustrated, try this 5-second gratitude hack. Take a deep breath. Look around. Find one thing you appreciate: the sky, your breath, a kind person, a good memory. Say, out loud or in your head, "I am grateful for this moment." This simple practice trains your brain to focus on abundance instead of lack. Practical exercise, the 1-sentence gratitude journal. If you do nothing else, try this. Every night, write down one thing you are grateful for. It could be a moment of laughter, a lesson learned, a meal you enjoyed, a kind act from someone. Do this for 30 days, and you will notice a profound shift in your mindset and emotions. The Dalai Lama's secret to happiness. The Dalai Lama, one of the most peaceful and joyful leaders in the world, follows a simple principle. The roots of all goodness lie in the soil of appreciation. Despite losing his homeland, facing political exile, and witnessing suffering, he remains one of the happiest people on earth. His secret? Gratitude. He wakes up each morning and expresses gratitude for being alive. He finds beauty in simple things: a smile, a sunrise, a cup of tea. He chooses to focus on what he has, not what he has lost. If a man who has lost his country can find happiness through gratitude, so can we. Final thought: gratitude is the gateway to joy. Gratitude is not just a nice idea, it is a life-changing practice. It turns stress into peace, scarcity into abundance, ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. No matter where you are in life, there is always something to be grateful for. The question is, will you choose to see it? Section 6. Meditate daily. Even just 5 minutes of meditation can transform your life. Meditation is not about escaping reality, it is about seeing it clearly. It is the art of stilling the mind, allowing wisdom and inner peace to emerge. In a world filled with constant noise, distractions, and mental clutter, meditation is the antidote. It sharpens focus, reduces stress, and rewires the brain for greater emotional resilience. Many of the most powerful, successful, and influential figures in history, leaders, philosophers, and innovators, have relied on meditation or mindfulness to stay grounded, make better decisions, and find clarity amidst chaos. Story of the monk and the lake. A young monk once approached his teacher, troubled by racing thoughts and inner turmoil. "Master, how can I calm my mind?" he asked. The teacher led him to a lake and said, "Look into the water." The monk peered in and saw murky, disturbed water, reflecting a distorted image of himself. "Now, be still," the teacher instructed. As they waited, the ripples faded, and the water became clear and still, reflecting everything perfectly. "The mind is like this lake," the master explained. "When you let it settle, clarity emerges. But if you stir it constantly with thoughts, it remains restless and unclear." Meditation is the practice of letting the water settle, stilling the mind so that wisdom, creativity, and inner peace can surface. The meditation habit of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, the visionary co-founder of Apple, was known for his unwavering focus and creative genius. Many people don't know that he was a devoted practitioner of Zen meditation. He once described his mind as being like a chaotic snow globe, constantly shaken by thoughts and distractions. But through meditation, he learned to let the snow settle, allowing for sharp, clear insights. Jobs credited meditation with his ability to think deeply, eliminate distractions, and develop the elegant simplicity that made Apple products revolutionary. His practice was simple. He meditated every morning for just a few minutes. He focused on his breath, letting go of distracting thoughts. Over time, he trained his mind to stay present and razor sharp. This habit helped him make better decisions, handle stress, and maintain clarity in both business and life. The Dalai Lama's meditation practice, why he smiles every day. The Dalai Lama radiates joy, wisdom, and peace even after being exiled from his homeland and witnessing suffering on a massive scale. His secret? Daily meditation. Every morning, he spends hours in deep meditation, training his mind in compassion, gratitude, mental clarity. He has said, if every 8-year-old in the world is taught meditation, we will eliminate violence from the world within 1 generation. Science backs this up. Studies show that children and adults who meditate regularly are less reactive, more compassionate, and better at handling stress. The science of meditation, how it rewires the brain. Neuroscientists have discovered that meditation shrinks the amygdala, the brain's fear center, reducing stress and anxiety. Strengthens the prefrontal cortex, improving focus, self-control, and decision-making. Boosts gray matter density, increasing emotional intelligence and resilience. One Harvard study found that just 8 weeks of daily meditation resulted in measurable changes in brain structure, making practitioners calmer, happier, and more focused. Meditation in leadership, how Ray Dalio built a billion-dollar empire. Ray Dalio, billionaire investor and founder of Bridgewater Associates, attributes much of his success to transcendental meditation, TM. At first, he was skeptical. But after adopting twice daily meditation, he noticed clearer thinking, reduced stress, improved decision-making. Dalio has since introduced meditation to his entire company, making it a core part of Bridgewater's culture. He believes that calmness under pressure is a key trait of great leaders, and meditation is the ultimate tool to cultivate it. How meditation saved Kobe Bryant's career. Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, used meditation as a secret weapon. When he started working with mindfulness coach George Mumford, he realized that mental discipline was just as important as physical training. Every morning, Kobe meditated to sharpen focus before games, stay calm under pressure, let go of mistakes and stay present. This practice gave him an edge over competitors, helping him stay composed, confident, and fully in the moment. In high-pressure situations like game-winning shots, he never let nerves take over. His mind was trained to be still and focused. The biggest myths about meditation, and why they're wrong. Myth number 1, I don't have time to meditate. Truth, if you have time to scroll your phone for 10 minutes, you have time to meditate. Even one deep breath is a start. Myth number 2, I can't stop my thoughts. Truth, meditation is not about emptying the mind, it's about observing your thoughts without getting caught in them. Myth number 3, you have to meditate for hours to see benefits. Truth, just 5 to 10 minutes daily can make a noticeable difference. Myth number 4, meditation is for monks and spiritual people. Truth, some of the most successful CEOs, athletes, and scientists meditate daily. Meditation is for anyone who wants to be calmer, sharper, and happier. How to start meditating, even if you've never tried it before. If you're new to meditation, try this simple 5-minute routine. Keycap 1, find a quiet space. Sit comfortably. Keycap 2, close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Keycap 3, focus on your breath. Feel the air entering and leaving. Keycap 4, when your mind wanders, gently bring it back. Keycap 5, after 5 minutes, slowly open your eyes. That's it. You've meditated. Practical exercise, the 5-minute guided meditation challenge. Try this for 1 week. Set a 5-minute timer. Close your eyes and focus on your breath. Each time a thought arises, acknowledge it and let it go. Repeat daily. By the end of the week, you'll notice a calmer mind, sharper focus, less stress. Meditation is not about perfection, it's about showing up and practicing. Why meditation is the ultimate life hack. It reduces stress better than any pill. It improves focus better than any productivity app. It enhances creativity better than any brainstorming session. It deepens happiness better than any external success. In a chaotic world, meditation is your secret weapon for clarity, peace, and resilience. All it takes is 5 minutes a day. Are you willing to give it a try? Section 7, Follow the Middle Way. Extreme indulgence and extreme discipline both lead to suffering. Too much pleasure can make us complacent, while too much restraint can make us miserable. The Buddha's path, the middle way, is about balance. It teaches that true happiness comes from avoiding extremes. Whether in work, relationships, diet, or personal ambitions. The key to a fulfilled and sustainable life is moderation, finding the point where effort meets ease, where discipline meets flexibility, and where achievement meets contentment. The Fall of Napoleon, a cautionary tale of extremes. Napoleon Bonaparte was one of the most brilliant military minds in history. But his downfall was not due to lack of skill, it was due to his inability to practice balance. Early in his career, he was calculated, strategic, and disciplined. He built an empire that dominated Europe. But as his power grew, so did his appetite for control. He began overextending himself, waging war on multiple fronts, pushing his armies beyond their limits. He was no longer satisfied with victory, he wanted complete domination. In 1812, he made his most reckless decision, invading Russia in winter. His army, once the most powerful in the world, was decimated by cold, hunger, and exhaustion. His desire for absolute power led to absolute ruin. Had Napoleon embraced moderation, he might have ruled for decades. Instead, his obsession with conquest destroyed him. The middle way in leadership, Barack Obama's approach to politics. Barack Obama faced one of the most politically divided eras in American history. Instead of choosing extreme left or right, he tried to find common ground, a balance between progressive policies and practical governance. He often spoke about the importance of listening to both sides, understanding that real progress comes from balance, not polarization. Obama's leadership was built on the principle of measured action, avoiding reactionary decisions, staying calm under pressure, and choosing long-term solutions over short-term wins. His presidency proves that the middle way is not about being passive, it is about making choices that create lasting stability. The extremes of work, Elon Musk versus Tim Cook. Elon Musk is famous for working 120-hour weeks, sleeping in his office, and pushing himself to the absolute limit. His extreme work ethic has helped him achieve groundbreaking innovations. But it has also led to burnout, exhaustion, and public meltdowns. On the other hand, Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, runs one of the most successful companies in the world while maintaining a structured and balanced lifestyle. He wakes up at 4 a.m., but he also exercises daily. He works intensely, but he also values rest and efficiency. He pushes Apple forward, but he also prioritizes sustainability over reckless expansion. Tim Cook's approach shows that sustained success comes from consistency, not extremes. Hard work is essential, but without balance, it leads to collapse. Why extreme dieting and overindulgence both fail. People often fall into two diet extremes. Key 1, the all-in approach, extreme diets that cut out entire food groups. These work temporarily but often lead to burnout, cravings, and failure. Keycap 2, the I give up approach, no discipline at all, leading to poor health and long-term consequences. The middle way approach to food is mindful eating, enjoying meals without obsession or guilt. Instead of eliminating carbs, eat them in moderation. Instead of starving yourself, focus on nutrient-dense meals. Instead of binge eating, practice self-awareness. Health is not about deprivation or excess, it is about balance. The mental cost of extreme positivity, the dangers of toxic positivity. In the age of self-help and motivational speakers, many people fall into the trap of forced positivity, believing they must always be happy, always be positive, and never acknowledge pain. This extreme approach to optimism can be dangerous because it denies reality. It forces people to suppress emotions, leading to depression, anxiety, and emotional numbness. The middle way teaches that it is okay to feel pain, to acknowledge sadness, to sit with discomfort, but to also not dwell in suffering. True peace comes from embracing all emotions, not just the pleasant ones. Balance means allowing yourself to feel, but not letting emotions control you. The middle way in wealth, the choice of J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling went from living in poverty to becoming one of the wealthiest authors in the world after Harry Potter. Unlike many celebrities who fall into excessive spending, Rowling practices financial balance. She donated over $150 million to charities, focusing on causes she believes in. She still lives a relatively modest lifestyle, compared to her wealth. She avoids the trap of materialism, choosing purpose over luxury. She understands that money is a tool, not an identity, and that true wealth is not measured by what you have, but by what you do with it. She found the middle way between enjoying wealth and using it wisely. The middle way in sports, Serena Williams' longevity. Many athletes burn out quickly due to extreme training regimens. Some push themselves too hard and destroy their bodies. Others become too relaxed and lose their edge. Serena Williams has had one of the longest and most successful tennis careers because she mastered balance. She trained relentlessly, but also prioritized recovery and mental health. She played with intensity, but knew when to step back and rest. She stayed competitive for decades, while others burned out in a few years. Her ability to listen to her body, pace her efforts, and maintain equilibrium is the reason she remained at the top of her game for so long. How the middle way applies to everyday life. The middle way is not just a philosophy, it is a practical tool for daily life. In work, instead of overworking or procrastinating, set a structured, sustainable schedule. In health, instead of extreme dieting or mindless eating, eat mindfully and move daily. In emotions, instead of suppressing emotions or overindulging in negativity, acknowledge feelings, but don't let them consume you. In relationships, instead of giving too much or too little, aim for healthy boundaries and mutual respect. Practical exercise, the balance audit. Take a moment to identify one area of your life where you can apply more balance. Keycap 1 work, are you working too much or too little? Keycap 2 health, are you neglecting your body or obsessing over fitness? Keycap 3 finances, are you spending recklessly or hoarding money out of fear? Keycap 4 emotions, are you suppressing feelings or letting them control you? Make a small, practical adjustment to bring that area closer to balance. Final thought, why balance is the key to everything. Extremes are easy, but balance is where wisdom lies. The middle way is about effort without exhaustion, growth without self-destruction, pleasure without overindulgence, discipline without rigidity. Mastering balance is the secret to a fulfilled, sustainable, and peaceful life. Happiness is not a destination, it is a way of being. These 7 Buddhist teachings are not just philosophy. They are a blueprint for a life of peace, wisdom, and fulfillment. They offer us a way to live with more presence, more gratitude, more clarity, and more purpose. If you apply even one of these teachings, you will notice a shift in how you experience life. If you apply all 7, you will begin to understand why the wisest minds in history have turned to Buddhism as a path to liberation and deep, unshakable happiness. But here's the most important truth. Nothing changes unless you do. The world will continue to distract you. Society will continue to tell you that happiness lies in external success, fleeting pleasures, and material gain. But if you are willing to look deeper, to turn inward, and to embrace these teachings, you will uncover a peace that cannot be shaken, a happiness that is not dependent on circumstances, and a wisdom that will guide you through every storm in life. Would you like to continue this journey of self-discovery and transformation? If so, subscribe to Wisdom of the Buddha, and join us as we explore the timeless insights of Buddhism, insights that have changed millions of lives, and can change yours too. Your path to true happiness begins now. Are you ready to take the next step?